of business meets life. Hello, everybody. We are here in beautiful Sydney, Australia, and at the same time in the US with amazing Kenny. I have known Kenneth Kwiatkowski. Did I say that right? How to pronounce your last name?
You know, that is the correct Polish pronunciation, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, I did a good job. My Polish is so good.
Dobre.
Thank you. So we have amazing Kenny here, and I've met him at, oh my gosh, he gave this amazing speech at the Red Bull Racing in London, all about generational wealth. It was wine. Met him in Los Angeles several years in a row in the Sydney Opera House event. You see him all around the world. Wherever you go, this is where he is. He is some of the most kindest, supportive people, and he actually is so well connected. It is impressive. A real global citizen from the US. Now, let me quickly tell you a bit more about him. So Ken Kwiatkowski is the inventor and CEO of Sprinkler Guard by Grasshole, a veteran-owned, made in the USA company based in Bradenton, Florida. Over 150,000 units have been sold, protecting sprinkler heads and lighting fixtures for commercial properties, HOAs, schools, and veteran cemeteries across the country, and so on and so on. Kenny, let me quickly ask you, how have you been over the last couple of weeks? I mean, it's been crazy between happy marriages, some kind of sad stories happening in the family. Can you give us a summary of how your life looked like? And I think it tells us a lot on how you are as a business owner in your private life and how you do your time management.
You know, it's funny because after I came back from West Palm Beach and JT's event and meeting with Tommy Hilfiger and his brother Andy, things just kind of fell apart. Yeah, we knew my mother was on her declining bed, and it's kind of bittersweet. I mean, she passed on February 1st, and it is what it is. But you know what? She died in her own bed in her house of 57 years. It doesn't get much. It doesn't get much better than that. There are some unique pictures because we had cameras in a room of the different colors that were changing during the time when, and I call it when a Holy Spirit was leaving and the presence of God was there. Yeah, so my son was busy because he's a firefighter, and he was going to my daughter's wedding that he couldn't fly out with us. So myself, my wife, and my daughter, we went out for the funeral on, it was February 11th, and we were there for a week or so and came home and for a few days. Then we flew to New Orleans. My daughter is doing destination wedding in New Orleans, and she is a nurse at All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg in their CDH department, which is a specialty department for children are having their organs in all different places, so they kind of do surgery and so forth. But actually, we flew to New Orleans. I forgot. I think it was the 16th or 17th of February, and got off the plane, put my wife in an Uber, sent her to the hotel. Here you go, honey. Then I got back in the TSA line. Oh my God, it was chaos because everybody was leaving from Mardi Gras, and it was like 2 hours. Gosh. So it's like, am I gonna make my 6:30 flight? Yes, I had a meeting with Home Depot at their innovation center in Atlanta on the 18th at 9 a.m. So I left New Orleans. I didn't even go to the hotel, grabbed my bag, jumped on another plane, flew to Atlanta, got off, and I'm ironing a shirt at 12 o'clock midnight at the hotel. It's like, okay, got up. Matt Wilson, who arranged this all via JT email that he sent out, and met with Home Depot, did the dog and pony show, and it went over fabulous. Actually, we're onboarding right now. We should be onboarding before the end of the month, the final. And but anyways, did the dog and pony show, got back to Atlanta Airport 10:30 for 11:30 flight, and was the second to last person to get on that plane. I went to the wrong, they changed gates on me, went to the wrong gate, then kind of doing the OJ running across the airport, but my knee's killing me. So I grabbed the go-kart person. I go, can you take me to gate 10? And so I got on the plane, and it landed back in New Orleans a little after 1, back to the hotel 1:30, and made my daughter's wedding rehearsal on
Woo!
Thursday.
Super
Yes,
dad.
before 2 o'clock. Yeah, super dad there. So yeah, that was quite an event. The wedding was off the hook. It's like I got to do this. They were talking about doing a parade. Who's to say that? Oh no, everybody from the wedding's going to be in the parade. We're going around. We're going around the French Quarter, and they're all handing handkerchiefs out. We had the Dixieland band going. My daughter and
Oh,
her husband
wow.
Kevin were in front. The band was behind. Then I was behind the band. Police escort. So we're walking around French Quarter waving these hankies in the air, and residents are coming out with waving their stuff. It was the coup de grace. That was for sure. Boy, I was soaked after. But you know what? I go, you know what? When I pass away, I want my casket. I'll put money on the side. I want my casket shipped to New Orleans. You all do a parade for me, ship me back. Then you can bury me at the National Cemetery here in Sarasota, which is a military cemetery. But yeah, and so kind of recovered from that, and starting to work on my mother's estate with my brother and getting things situated. Then our 99-year-old Nana, she passed, and she would have been 100 this month. But
Wow.
another bittersweet.
Wow, it's like
She,
an up and down. And now your son just married a couple of days too, right?
yeah, on April 4th, he got married in Lithia, Florida. Thank God I didn't have to get on the plane, and I didn't have any more meetings with Home Depot. But that was fantastic too. It was totally different. It was the services were held outside in kind of like an arbor covered oak area, and they had benches and stuff. Then they had an air
Hmm.
conditioned barn right next to it, so that's where the reception was held. And they had these two little miniature donkeys walking around. And I got pictures. I think I sent a few out for Easter. And
Oh, please.
and they
Yeah.
had beverages. They had these pouches on. They have beverages in it. And it was interesting that these people do a lot of equine therapy with donkeys and horses. And I had gone
Mm.
through equine therapy program. Yeah. So actually, I was just talking to his wife earlier today about their program and how I work with Easter seals and their equine program.
Interesting. So now, guys, you can definitely see why I like Ken, right? He has the craziest stories, but he's super, super successful, but at the same time, so caring, such a big family man, always supportive to the community. Now, let's first go a little bit back in time. I know you're veterans. So you served in the Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. What did military service teach you about problem solving and resilience that still shows up in how you run Grasshole, your company today?
Well, the first thing you do every morning is you make your bed. You start
Oh,
off with
right.
you
Yeah.
start off with that first accomplishment. Simple as it may seem, you know what? It is a big thing. There's nothing better to get it back into a made bed at the end of the day when you did, 12, 14, or 16 hours. Or with JT, he's doing 24. I don't even think he sleeps sometimes. But that is the first accomplishment is getting up, making the bed. All right, let's get moving. Let's start the day. And
Right.
it's not always easy. We all have I think whether you're military or not, I think we all have a little PTSD. Some are deeper than
Mm.
others. And, I get my relief with equine therapy, obviously, doing a lot of praying that helps me get through. But yeah, you just you got to power through it. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And you got to put your boots on every day. And even if you feel like you're just going through the motions, just try to accomplish one thing, then you accomplish another. Don't look. You don't eat an elephant in one sitting. How do you eat an elephant? A little at a time. If you focus on a leg or a trunk or whatever the case may be, we'll just call it a cow, and you're not looking at the whole cow, it makes it a little simpler. You know, why bite off
So
more than
many
you can?
nuggets.
There is. You can look at the big picture, but you may be overwhelmed. So do a little accomplishment if you're having a bad day, one step at a time. Before you know it, wow, I got a lot done today. Then you're taking on bigger projects.
Yeah.
And when you're really energetic, you do the hardest thing first in the morning.
Mm.
But
Like eat that frog, right?
military is very structured. It keeps you, and you know what? Sometimes you don't always have the necessary tools that you need. You got to improvise. Improvise. Okay, this is broken.
Mm.
This is broken. Hey, I don't have a manual. You got to just fix it on the fly. And I don't care if you use a duct tape and crazy glue, as long as it works, and then you can move through to the next level. You know, when I was growing
Yeah.
up, we didn't have a lot of manuals. We didn't have freaking AI. Let's learn how to fix the snowmobile, the puller thing on there. My dad was very inspirational, and I taught my son this: take it apart, put it in order, fix the broken part, then put it back together. Simple as that. If you
Mm.
put things in order, then reverse, put it back, it's a no-brainer. If you're out in the middle of
Reverse
the woods,
engineer.
yeah, I mean, farmers do this all the time. They don't have time to run to Ace Hardware or Home Depot to get a spare part. Hey, they make do.
Right.
They make do with what they have. You improvise and overcome and adapt. That's what you need to do
Yeah.
to survive.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. We have a couple of live listeners in here as well.
Oh
Blessed
boy.
day. Greetings to you from Farsund. I'm glad you're mentioning your dad. So your father Stan was also a Navy veteran, a boxer, and a chemical engineer. How did growing up with that kind of father shape who you became?
Actually, he was a Golden Gloves boxer in New York City. He goes, I may not have
Wow.
which is huge. So, and he did this before going into the Navy at 17 for World War II. He goes, I may not have ever won the Golden Gloves, but I never got knocked out. That was his
Wow.
whole that was his whole thing throughout his career. Hey, I may have got knocked down. I got my butt back up and I got back into that fight. He goes, I remember fighting this guy from Harlem. He had such long arms. I just got it on the inside and I just hammered away at his stomach. You know, he taught me how to
Mm.
box. He was a gentle giant and not as talkative as I am, but he made his point, and he actually broke a generational, I would say, chain, whereas that his father, you know, him and his sister were 10 years apart. So his father wasn't expecting another child. His father didn't interact with him a lot, but his mother did. So
Mm.
he made the point and he broke that generational, I'll call it curse or chain, that any sporting event me and my brother were in, he was at everyone, the practices, the games, pushing on. He learned to ski in his 40s. And, you know, I learned to ski when I was 4 years old, and he was there all the time for us. You know, emotionally, he may not have said I love you or hugged you, or it was more so when you grew up after, but the fact that he was right there whenever you need him.
That is amazing.
That's
Which
gen that's
now
yeah, that's generational wealth.
it
Yeah.
is, yeah. What you also spoke about at Red Bull Racing in Milton Keynes in the UK. Let's switch the topic. And I mean, you've not only served in the military, but who I definitely would have never guessed that you were a CFO and a numbers guy. So you spent decades as a CFO across industries, and you're like so different from like air conditioning company, coastal plumbing to the Sarasota Opera. Now, I'm wondering, most CFOs don't really become inventors, especially not at age 59. I feel like this is so random. So, was there a single moment, a broken, I don't know, sprinkler head, a conversation, a number on spreadsheets? Like, I'm sure there was like a triggering moment that made you say, like, Ken, I'm going to solve this.
Yes, there was. I was sitting on Mile and I here in Bradenton, Florida, and I'm looking at these cement donuts that I had around my sprinkler head. And it's like, I got to come up with something better. It's like I just ruined a lawnmower. It was cheaper for me to buy a new lawnmower than replace that one. Don't figure, right? Like anything else, it's buy a new one, you know? So that's what started it. And I started making prototypes out of paper and cardboard. Eventually, I went to like Lowe's and bought some PVC piping and some shower material, a lot of crazy glue and spray paint. And it's like, all right, I still have prototypes. I kept my whole history of everything I made, even the cardboard ones. So so I started doing that. Then I just started going around with my colleagues and friends, you know, how big should the disc be, or you know, what shape and color. And then along the way I came up with these preparations. So because not all not all these fit in one place. Round doesn't fit in all. One shoe doesn't fit all people. So that's where the preparations came into play. So an idea that kind of went hog wild. But you know what? It was really, I was sitting there. It's like, I don't know if I should do this or not. I heard my dad, and then my dad had passed already. He goes, I heard his voice saying,
Oh.
Ken, do it. Just do it. And
Oh, wow.
yes. And there's a few other times, you know, if you tune in, you can actually hear other people, but that's I guess my privilege. And I heard him say that. So I started going around to different manufacturers here locally, and lo and behold, one after the other, and just fine tuning my idea. And then finally spending 40 grand and building an aluminum mold. And then one thing led to another, and, you know, putting it on the website, then getting on Amazon. Sales went through the roof. Amazon's great, but you're going to pay the piper. They're going to take 58% of each sale. You know what? But the marketing is good. They're the gorilla, and they're the gorilla in the room. They could out market anybody. I don't care how you market. Amazon will out market you.
So what did your finance background teach you about bringing a product to market that a traditional inventor might have missed? Because I mean, we all can see you've been super successful.
It's all about knowing your numbers. What's your cost of goods sold? What's your overhead? Your overhead should be 10-14% maximum. Obviously, that's different in not-for-profit or other areas of business, but you know, your overhead's 10 to 14%. If you're over that, there's something wrong with this picture. You're overpaying people or something. I haven't really taken even a paycheck. So I just keep reinvesting into my company. And actually, I call it God's company. I'm just a shepherd for it. And we've come up with different products along the line, and they'll be launching later in April.
Amazing. So let's talk a little bit more about Grasshole then. 150,000 plus units sold. I mean, it's super. Oh, even more. What's the number now? The numbers guy, don't disappoint us.
Well over 300,000 units.
Congratulations. I mean, even a Chinese tried to copy you. That means your product is really, really good. So how did you get the first 1,000 customers? Was there like an early traction strategy, or was it literally just through Amazon?
You know, marketing is my Achilles heel. Boy, you really learn when you're in a fire by baptism, as I call it. Okay, you know, you get set up on your website. Woo, I got a sale today. Then I was actually packaging them myself and then running up to the UPS store. And it's like, well, I got to figure a better way than this, because this ain't working. It worked for a while. Then I you know, eventually I got on board with Amazon, and it's not easy to set up your Seller Central account, and another baptism by fire. And you want to make sure when you get on Amazon, you better be branding your trademark names. You better be branding your patent names, because if you don't, somebody's going to take it and they're going to brand. Then you can't even sell on Amazon. I've seen this happen to a few individuals. They weren't as tenacious as I was, and they kind of assumed because they had patents and this and that. No, because the other companies branded on Amazon before you. They couldn't even ship to Amazon to sell anymore. It's a hard. Wow. That's a hard lesson to learn, and you're the one owning the patents, and you can't even send more inventory to Amazon. That's a problem, Houston.
See, you're getting some comments from YouTube right here. Now, speaking of patents, right? What is your advice for every business owner out there on how to do your IP or get your patents, especially not only in the US, but globally?
I think the first key is when you're setting up your corporation, get your corporation name and make sure it's good with your IP address. Make sure they're the same, whether it's, and grass hole. I couldn't get grass hole. That's why I have grass hole system. But now I have sprinkler-guard, which we've rebranded. But make sure, when you're setting up your corporation name's the same as your IP address, but you want to describe your product in your company name if you're doing e-commerce or you're selling online. I was at a coffee shop this morning, Badass Coffee of Hawaii. I go, this is a terrible name. JT would be all over this. I was AIing freaking better names for him. They go, yeah, we basically got 1 star on our name. I go, you need to rebrand. And I told them my kind of story. But anyways, yeah, you want your IP address the same as your corporate name. And if you do a branding change, you could go, okay, your corporation's Grasshole Corporation. Do DBA Sprinkler Guard. I have Sprinkler Guard, sprinkler-guard.com now. So it's a beautiful thing. And I have the UK, the EU, the AU. So I'm all situated in the different markets. And you want to get every market you possibly can. It's hard when, sometimes people see your name and they just go out and buy those IP addresses or the URLs. And you know what? That just burns my bass. It's like they just do it to make money that you'll buy it from them at 5 times its value.
Yeah.
So back to patents. It's not easy in the U.S. If you're not part of the good old boys club, the U.S. Patent Office ain't going to let you in. You got to find that patent attorney and trademark attorney that's going to do their due diligence. And and along the way, I found out if you pay a little extra, you get those patents expedited quicker. Okay, so a design patent is pretty reasonable to get. A utility patent, they'll file a provisional. It'll take almost 2 years, but you can't wait 2 years because you're already on the market and people are already stealing your products. So you can't do anything about it until you're patent.
Yeah. What do you think have been some of your biggest mistakes you've made, for example, early in your business or just in general as a business owner?
And JT will tell you, it's trusting the wrong people. I'm too honest to a point, but when you burn me, you're going to see retribution, or, I'll just walk away. You're better just to walk away.
How have you changed that now from being too, I don't know if I can say naive or so, or trusting the wrong people into now trusting right people? How do you make sure that you now trust the right ones?
You know what? You just got to judge the book by its cover, and hopefully you're making the right decision. And make sure, you know what? And when you don't have patents yet, make sure you get NDAs on anybody who you're doing business with, so that product, even though you're not patented yet or trademarked with your stuff, you got an NDA in place that they can take your product and try to run with it. It's not the final deterrent, but it is a good deterrent. I always want to tell people, whoever you're marketing with or you're showing your product to, NDA. I just say, my attorney needs me to get this signed. If they won't sign it, just walk away. It could be the best thing. They could be the best thing since sliced bread, but why would you want to compromise your ideas and give it to them for nothing?
That is so true. In the future, I have to say, my AI attorney wants me to do that.
Well, yeah, and you can throw it out in Chad or JT's AI. He has that legal brain there. It really whips out. It really creates some great legal emails and letters, and helps you make that decision. Use what you can, and you know what? Surround yourself with smarter people than you are. Always, and be yourself. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, people are gonna try to take advantage of you. And hopefully some of your friends will protect you along the way.
Yeah, I had Bonnie Laszlo, the hobby millionaire, on my podcast a few days ago. You know her very well.
Yes. And
she spoke a lot about proximity and being surrounded by people who are more successful than you. So a lot of people think they have this $1 million idea, right? But they actually never make a decision. They never act on it. Like JT Fox, he's always teaching us speed of implementation. Ken, what was it that pushed you past the what if stage and into actually getting it done and building it?
I think my dad's words, just do it, Ken. Just do it. And just go all in. You know what? You got to have faith in yourself. It's execute. Don't do it half-ass. if you're going to go in, go all in. I mean, JT says double down, where I'm pushing the chips all in. Let's just go all in. All right. So yeah, that's 50,000. So I got to work twice as hard and twice as smart. Not twice as smart, just twice as hard. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
we're all pretty smart, and knowing your numbers. What's your cost?
Yeah.
What's it gonna cost? You know what? Marketing's probably costs more than manufacturing these.
Yeah.
It really does.
So I became an entrepreneur like after having been in corporate for nearly 7 years, but I was still like in my mid 20s, and I was a foreigner in China, right? You started your entrepreneurship journey a little bit later, and you had way more like life experience, dad experience, marriage experience, military experience, CFO experience, and so on. But still, what's the hardest part of being a first-time entrepreneur that actually nobody really tells you about?
I think I explained this at Red Bull. It's like being on the wrestling team in high school.
Okay, so what does it mean?
You're all a team, right? You're the only guy out on that mat.
Mm-hmm.
You're against that other guy. So it's win, lose, or draw. And same thing with the military. It's either win or die. You got two choices. Yes, you could, if the guy's better than you, yeah, you try to not. The bottom line is don't get pinned and stay off your back. And, if he runs up points, he runs up points. You know what? You didn't pin me. You didn't pin me. You didn't pin me. You didn't pin me. So you could walk out there and still feel like a winner, and you didn't get pinned.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. What do you do to stay grounded and focused when you're doing everything? Sales, product, operations, strategy. I mean, of course, you have team members nowadays, but still, it can be so overwhelming.
Yeah, and sometimes you short circuit a little, and like what is it, Peter Pan? Sometimes you got to go find your happy place and recharge your batteries. Whether sometimes you just go down the Easter Seals Ranch and bring a 2-pound bag of carrots, play some music, and go hang out with the horses that I train with and talk to the people down there, because I find equine therapy or just hanging around horses, that's my piece of heaven on earth.
How did you get into this?
I belong to, there's a veterans coffee every Tuesday at Goodwill up the road, and one thing led to another, and it's like, yeah, I'll sign up. I'd like to do this equine therapy thing. So I went through the first 6 weeks. Then I went through another 6 weeks with a different horse, and I got to know the ladies there, the executive director, and I knew I knew their CFO from many years ago, and just talking with them, it's like, this is what veterans need and first responders need is this bonding with the horses. I mean, I have a dog that I take everywhere, but the relationship with the horse it's like, I'll tell you, it's my piece of heaven on earth. I mean, look at that.
What's the difference? Like, I've only been on a horse as a child. I've only rode a horse once in my life. So I'm like a big cat person, right? I mean, I moved my cats with me from the streets of Shanghai. I mean, you know it, right?
I know.
In the COVID times, they flew with me we went to Hangzhou, then later moved to Shenzhen in the south, and then we flew to Beijing. Then we went back to Shanghai. Now my cats are 5 and 5.5 years old, and they're living with my mom in Germany as I'm in Australia. So I can talk about like bonding with pets like cats, and I do understand the connection to any kind of pet. But what's the difference between cats and dogs bonding versus a horse?
You know what? A horse can feel your emotions 50 feet away. 50 feet away. Their heart is that large. And to bond with the horse, there's equine therapy is not about riding horses whatsoever. It's about working with the horse, having the horse walk alongside of you, shoulder to shoulder, and not pulling them along with a rope or any reins whatsoever. And learning that respect, and the horse has, you're always 51%, 49% in control. But meditating with a horse is beyond words. It's just so peaceful. Horses understand you. and they'll actually calm you. And you know what? Horses have bad days too. And you know, you're working through their bad days. It may be too hot, it may be too cold, and bonding with them and enjoying hours with them in that relationship capacity is, like I said, it's my piece of heaven on earth. And so this is why not only did I go through the program, I actually volunteered doing sidewalking and HIPAA therapy with special needs kids. Eventually, I'll be working with the veterans and help, you know, if they have businesses they need help with. And also, I sponsor each graduating class of veterans and first responders. They got a graduation actually coming up on the 17th. Sponsoring, and yeah, the company actually gives them money to help sponsor
That
theirs. Yes,
that is
because I
so deep. Thank
because I believe in it. I believe that it does help.
That is super deep. Thanks for sharing this with us. Now, when are you gonna retire? I mean, like you do so many things. I know you seem to take care of the family really well. You have this hobby. You do so much. You're giving back to the community, veterans, kids with special needs. You still have this business. I know you do stuff also a bit with AI. You're writing a book right now. You've just co-authored a book that you have published. I'm gonna share the picture in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, is there going to be any retirement?
Uh, well,
Should I ask your wife?
she wants to retire. She goes, I want to retire, but you know, I would like to get a licensing agreement for my patents. That would be nice, and maybe do some more equine work and work with more with veterans. You know, I still have my fractional CFO business, but I may just probably taper that off. I'm only keeping the clients that I love and I love working with. I mean, whether it's Restomont or a helicopter company or my Navy buddies' mortgage companies, and you know, it gives me time to spend with them. I got to still do my corporate tax return so I can get my personals done by next week. So yeah,
I
sometimes
mean,
we bite off. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
we can definitely feel the love, the care you have for people, for businesses to make an impact. So that's something that's very special about you, I have to say. Yeah.
You know, we talk about the 1% of the 1% to be an entrepreneur, but you know, to be a veteran and to be a military person, you're 1% of 1% too. So I'm 1% of 1% of 1%. So that's very rare to be a veteran and an entrepreneur.
Now, beyond this, though, having lived in the US myself, I feel like compared to us Germans, because of the Second World War, we don't want to talk about politics and history and so on. But I feel like being German, you can't really be so proud of your country versus like how you see it in France, in the US. And I feel like being a veteran is like you have this different kind of like pride, and especially in the US, it's like it has so much more of like this up-leveled status of being a veteran versus like if you are in Germany and someone is like in the military serving, you're like, you don't really care. So I know that your company is actually, so what does it mean to you that even your product is manufactured right here in the US, in Florida, and not like everyone else now going to east of Europe or like Thailand, China, Philippines,
Mhm.
India, Bangladesh?
Well, it's about supporting your local community. I have an economic impact with my local community, and it's about
Mm.
giving a hand up, not a handout. People don't appreciate a handout. You give them free housing, what do? They destroy it. You give them free food, they spit at you. If you give them a hand up, they're going to remember. It's like teaching. You can give a man, a veteran, or a person a fish dinner. That's good one time, but if you give them a fishing pole and teach them how to fish, he could fish for life.
Right. Yeah.
It's that
That's good.
simple.
Yeah. Well, it sounds simpler as it really is sometimes, right?
Yes.
Good. Can you see my picture?
Yes, I can.
Beautiful. So you have just co-authored on this amazing book. Congratulations. I think we can get
Thank
it
you.
on Amazon, but you're also writing a book a little bit. No, you're writing your own book right now. Tell us about why book, what are you talking about, and so on.
Well, I like to share my life experience with other people, and you know, maybe some people can learn from my mistakes. You know, even at Red Bull, when I was talking about my son, he was 9 or 10. He came up to me. We were talking, having a conversation. He goes, "Dad, I don't make any mistakes." And I sat there. It's like, what? What do you mean you don't make any mistakes? He goes, "I learned from all yours."
Smart answer.
That truly, at 9 or 10 years old, you know, it's not just making the mistakes. It's how do you fix your mistakes and how you dealt with them emotionally. You know, and you know, and doing and saying the right things. Kids follow by example, and people follow by example.
Yeah. What's the advice you would give the younger self to start on a different level?
My younger self,
Hmm.
I should have started sooner, or you know, I had other ideas going along. And you know what? I was brought up, and a lot of people are, go to college, get a job at a CPA firm, or you know, one of the big 5 accounting firms, which I did. Work in a prominent company. Wages are slave. You become slave to those wages. Now, as an entrepreneur, you could create your own revenue, and you don't have to deal with the bureaucracy of why I didn't get why I didn't get promoted, why I didn't get a good raise, why I didn't do. You know what? Do it yourself. Do it yourself. I mean, I had a paper route when I was a kid. Not only did I have a paper route, I was mowing their lawns and shoveling their driveways in the winter. So I learned
Yeah.
about that a lot sooner, but I got sucked into the philosophy that you have to have a corporate job and you should be doing this and you should be doing that. But really, you're becoming a slave. And JT will even, a lot of people will acknowledge that you're becoming a slave to those wages, and that's where you're stuck at, and that's the mentality.
Yeah. What does it mean to you that a product you invented now protects sprinkler heads at veteran cemeteries, a place that honors people like your father and yourself?
You know, I got a call from the veteran cemetery in Blackfoot, Idaho. They go, I don't know how they saw my product and they called me and they go, "Wow, we really like your product, and you know, but we don't have a lot of money." I go, "How many sprinkler heads do you have?" They go, 180. I go, "Listen, I calculated what the shipping was. You send me a check for the shipping. I will send you 180 products free. I'll put in a couple signs. You do some promo on social media, and we call it a day." And they did. And the other cemeteries, the National Cemetery here, I just dropped off units, and the same thing. I think it's over in not West Palm, over by Cocoa Beach. There's another veteran cemetery that are products for. But you know, if there's a need, you know, it's giving a hand up and not giving a hand out. But I made them buy in a little, pay for the shipping. You can at least I mean, the shipping I think for 180 units was 120
It's a
bucks.
compromise, yeah.
It was $120. I think you could afford that. If they couldn't, that would have been a problem. But they really like my product, and they go, send us those covers you invented. But what happened? What happened is I finally finished the covers because it went through 2 years of testing. We had to modify the mold because of the shrinkage of the covers versus the actual sprinkler guard unit. They were contracting and expanding differently. But it took us 2 years to resolve that issue. So they'll be going on the market probably mid-September. So when you drain your irrigation system in the fall, you put the covers on. Like in Australia, they love them because, you don't use your sprinkler systems during parts of the year, but they fill up with the sand and the dirt, and they kind of ruin the sprinkler heads. But by putting these covers on, they're kind of getting the package deal that they protect them against the sand and the dirt that flies around.
Ken, by the way, we got a question here for you from one of our YouTube followers. Is having a degree in the job a good start for a better future? How do you align yourself with the future that you want? Thank you, Fersent.
There are certain degrees which are very beneficial. I have a BS in accounting. I also have an AS in electrical engineering and a Master of Science in taxation, along with working in public accounting. Accounting is probably one of the best degrees. I mean, you can go get a marketing degree, get out in 3 years, but what good does it? But you want to look at the stats, who's hiring, what positions are available. And I think it was that crazy movie, The Accountant, with I can't remember who's in that movie, but he goes, the reason why I became an accountant because of the stats said it's better off being an accountant and you can make more money, blah, 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 blah. But do your research. It's really, you know what, if you find something you love to do, the money comes. The money comes. So if you like numbers, yeah, be an accountant. Maybe start your own CPA firm. Then do mergers and acquisitions with other CPA firms. You know, there's more than one way. If you have an idea, execute it. But if you have an idea, you can actually research it, go to the U.S. Patent Office, research your idea to see if somebody already patented it. And that'll save you a lot of headaches that I should have, would have, could have. But you know what? Somebody already patented it. And maybe you want to do a venture with that person that already has the patents. Utility patents last 25 years and design patents last 15 years. And you maybe do a joint thing that you may go produce them and you give them a royalty.
Thanks. Last two questions and we're going to close it up. We're slowly coming to an end. If you had to start over from zero, let's say you lost all of your wealth and so on, how would you spend your first 30 days?
I'd have to come up with a new strategic plan. Okay, what are we going to do? What's my revenue coming in? Yes, I do get benefits from the VA, but what's my revenue stream? What's my expenses? Where am I at? And figure out a budget. Okay, let's go. I got my budget. All right, can I pay this, this, and this? All right, then come up with a plan. Okay, I could always jump into a public accounting firm. That's not a problem. It's me just picking up the phone, but I feel like I'm making widgets when I'm doing tax returns. But you know what? To make a living and then to get back on your feet and stabilize yourself. I mean, I was working a full-time job as a CFO at the Jewish Family and Children's Services while I was actually making these. So, you know, you got to multitask and you do what you can. And if you have children, you know, you want to keep that roof over their head and food on the table. And if you have to stretch that jar of peanut butter and jelly, so be it. And you have to eat spaghetti for 60, 90 days, so be it. But, you know, you're feeding, you're eating, you got a dry roof over your head. So move forward. Don't look back. Every day is a new day. Every day is a clear whiteboard. Every day is like January 1st. And that's the way you should treat it. Every day and that's why they call it present. It's present time. It is a present. You're getting a present every single day. You can start all over. You can make yourself whatever you want.
Every second.
Hey, you go out and mow lawns if you want and create clientele. So you can go out and use other people's money to go out buy maybe a landscaping company. And you know what? You can just run around and hire the right people and then just oversee all the projects and jobs. What do you like to do? But it's good to stick your hand. You know what? Mentally, it's good to stick your hands in the dirt. It helps neutralize the brain and your electricity in your body, FYI.
Yeah, you focus on the touch sense in that moment. So Ken, thank you so much for spending time with us with this global community of the Business Meets Life podcast here. Who should connect with you and reach out to you through your website or social media, which we will have written in the description?
Well, you know, I'm always looking for distributors all across the world, and happy to create a relationship there and build revenues with you. And, you know, you have all my marketing material. We actually took my character, Angus McGrath. He's animated now. So we're doing a lot of DIYs and we're spinning how to buy grass hole at the end. We find it entertaining. I mean, you know, it talks about grass clippings, how it fertilizes your lawn and how to protect your sprinkler heads at the end of the day. But you can find me out on LinkedIn, Kenneth Kwiatkowski, KWiatkowski. You can find me out on Facebook, Angus McGrath or Sprinkler Guard, and LinkedIn, Sprinkler Guard or Kenneth Kwiatkowski. Go to my website, www.sprinkler-guard.com. Enjoy my videos, and you can see all the veteran organizations and non-for-profits I support. And I'll tell you, I support more veteran organizations and non-for-profits than anybody my revenue size. Make me a liar. Sponsor more.
Wow, so powerful. Guys, sharing is caring. If you love today's episode with amazing Ken from beautiful Florida, send it to your friends, your colleagues, subscribe, like, connect with him, buy his book on Amazon as well. Thank you so much for making time. I know for you it's after 9 p.m. now, Thursday night. Thanks for being such an impact maker, not only in the USA and Florida, not only for veterans and people with kids with special needs and for horses and so on, but also for the whole community. Like I always love seeing like when Ken is like he's on his route and he's like taking his selfies and pictures, sharing it in our WhatsApp group with the JT Fox community, no matter where he is, and always giving value. I really appreciate you. All the best and already happy weekend, Ken, and to everyone else out there as well. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.